Welcome to 5 at 5. This time last season, I did not want to do this content, and now I cannot wait to get stuck in. Let's do the 5 at 5, and before I do that, click that subscribe button. Number one, I want to talk about the Øzil Gene. Martin Erdegaard got a lot of stick in the previous game when he turned down a shot that he should have taken on. But I felt like the stick was unwarranted at the time. I did not expect for him to silence his critics so comprehensively and so quickly. So I want to ask you guys, let me know your thoughts in the comments. Is that criticism of him fair in your opinion, that he doesn't shoot enough, he's not clinical enough, he doesn't get enough goals, assists, in effect goal contributions? And whilst you're going to put your comments below and let me know your thoughts, I'm just going to let you know that last season, when you look at some other good players in teams that finished above Arsenal, where you'd expect, it's probably an easier ride for attacking players to go and get good statistics in that respect. Gundogan and Bernardo Silva, they got 8 goals each in the Premier League and they got 4 assists. Kai Havertz, he got 8 goals and 3 assists. You compare that to Erdegaard, 7 goals and 4 assists. That's 1 goal less than the 3 players I've mentioned, and the same number of assists as someone like Bernardo Silva or Gundogan at Man City, one of the best teams in the world, definitely the best in the country, especially last season. So to me, it feels slightly harsh on Martin Erdegaard. And I found last week's comments quite frustrating because it was all based on one moment in one game, where of course some people make bad decisions sometimes, and that was a bad decision. But yesterday against Bournemouth, not only did he score 2 goals, but one of them he took off Gabriel Jesus' toe. That's how decisive and clinical he was. I feel like people are slightly harsh on Martin Erdegaard, and actually when you look at his all-round game, he's very, very important and a very good player for Arsenal Football Club. Let me know what your thoughts are. I do accept he does need to get more goal contributions, but I think the criticism is a bit harsh on him. Number 2, Gabriel Jesus, the finder of space. This guy is ridiculous. They say Jesus turned water into wine. Gabriel Jesus does the same thing on a football pitch, man. He'll turn a bad pass, he'll turn a goal kick into a potential assist. Last week against Leicester, from a Ramsdale goal kick, 70 yards, it's landed on his head. He's created a goal-scoring opportunity out of that. Yesterday, I think, what was it, from a Ben White aimless clearance. I don't know what that ball was from Ben White. He turned that into the move that created the goal for Martin Erdegaard. Jesus turns water into wine. He is just another level. And you know what? There's countless examples. I think he would be an amazing player to analyse if you had the rights to the TV and all the snazzy equipment they have in Sky Sports. He'd be a dream player to analyse on a punditry level. And I'll just give you one example, but there were probably about 10 examples of this in the game. It was in the 28th minute from a free kick. He's always thinking, always doing something different to just deceive or to get past his marker. Quite simply standing in an offside position. He was the only player in that free kick in the 28th minute to be standing in an offside position. Clearly, he can't be marked from the outset when he's doing that, because then he'll be onside. And then after that, with a player like Gabriel Jesus, you're not going to end up being able to mark him. Just always thinking ahead, always desperate to be in the right place at the right time. And you know what? It's not that he's just got a knack for it. He works really, really hard to make sure he's that guy on the end of chances, in the right space at the right time. I'm absolutely in love with watching him play, and I can't wait to see what he achieves for Arsenal this season as the main man. Number 3, Granit Xhaka and his newfound sort of role in this team and his position, I think is one that's very interesting. And there was one moment that I think just encapsulated the frustrations that we've had with him in a position that's closer to the box that we're defending versus the appreciation that Arsenal fans are slowly getting for him when he's situated closer to the opponent's box. And in the 78th minute, Arsenal played quite a good game yesterday, and Xhaka didn't make many mistakes, but in the 78th minute, he played a ridiculous loose pass in Bournemouth's attacking third that led to a chance on goal for Bournemouth. And really, they didn't create much. That was maybe one of their best chances. And then about 9 minutes later, I think in the 87th minute, he was up in the opposition box with a brilliant pass to Jesus, and Jesus had a really good opportunity to goal. Unfortunately, he didn't score. And for me, it just summed up Granit Xhaka and how hard he is to love when he's a bit loose with his passing. I don't know what it is about him, but there's so much more focus, so much more concentration and accuracy to his game in the final third than there is when he's in his defensive third. I feel like sometimes he's a bit too loose with the way that he plays. His awareness, concentration, his passing isn't up to scratch. But actually, the way Arteta is deploying him now, I feel like he's a much easier player to appreciate. Let me know if you agree, if you've come to the same conclusion watching him so far this season in a slightly more advanced role, and obviously having someone like Zinchenko behind him who often comes into that midfield area. When you watch Zinchenko, you realise he's not a typical left-back in that respect. He does often come centrally. Perhaps that gives Xhaka a bit more freedom to explore, knowing he's got that cover in behind. Long may it continue, and credit has to go to Arteta for unlocking a different skill in Granit Xhaka's armoury. Number 4, and this is about control of games. It's something that since the Emery days, I've kind of banged my head against the wall on. And even with Arteta, many times last season, I remember Everton away, there were numerous games where I was thinking, come on, how can we not see as fans that we don't have control over games? Yesterday, the first half was unbelievably dominant in a controlling sense. And, I ask for it as if it's easy. I realize it's not easy. For any manager in this league, a league as competitive as the Premier League, to have control to the extent that in the first half, Bournemouth had an expected goals rate of 0.00. That is perfection. And Arteta deserves an unbelievable amount of credit for that. And the team, in terms of executing his plan and his vision, deserves so much credit for that. Our challenge now is that when we look at the Palace game, really good first half, we lost control of that game in the second half and weren't able to wrestle it back. Against Leicester, we should have had that game under absolute lock and key. Instead, we let them come back in. Even yesterday against Bournemouth, first half, perfection. And I know that it happens in football because the other team has to up the ante and get into the game. But if we're looking for rooms for improvement in this Arsenal team to get us right to the very, very top, we're good at getting control of games, but we're not good at getting it once we've relinquished some of that control. And now that's sort of the next step for Mikel Arteta. How do we make sure we maintain control for the entire 90 minutes? And I feel like our success rate in duels is one of them, because actually it's probably not as high as it should be. So for me, in terms of room for improvement, make sure you win your duels from the first minute to the 90 and make sure you maintain that control within games. Number 5, and listen, you might not appreciate this one, but I've got a question for you guys. This is not a point that I'm going to make, it's a question for you guys. Are we getting carried away as Arsenal fans? Last season, we lost the first 3 games, and clearly that wasn't the tone for the season. Things changed. And now we've won 3 games, and let's be honest, Palace away is quite a difficult game, but these are 3 games that I think all of us looked at and said, yeah, are fairly winnable. And I'm just trying to sort of calm my own excitement down as well by asking myself the question, are we getting too excited? Or actually, do you really, really think that this is the makings of something that could be potentially quite special? And we're not. We're not getting overexcited. We're actually just calling it as we see it. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I'm really eager to see what other fans think about this, because we're only 3 games in and the season is going to be very, very difficult, especially with a World Cup in the middle of it. This is going to be a lot of uncharted territory. So help me out here. Are we getting too excited? Or do we have that reason to be super excited by what we're witnessing on the pitch? Listen, that is it for my 5 at 5. Another happy one. And Saturday, August 27th, Arsenal take on Fulham at the Arsenal. And I can't imagine any Arsenal fan can predict anything other than a victory. Hopefully that will be 4 out of 4 and it'll be another really positive 5 at 5. Let me know what your predictions are for that game in the comments below. And if you haven't already done so, please do subscribe. I'm trying to hit 50,000 subs this year. And you guys have already been fantastic. If you haven't watched my match reaction from yesterday, it's the pinned comment below in the comments. Have a watch of that. It's already had over 20,000 views, and I really, really appreciate that. I am trying to keep in mind the feedback that I get from you guys. As you can see, I'm wearing a microphone because you want a better sound quality. I'm listening. I'm trying to do my best because I really, really appreciate all of the support that I get from each and every one of you. Take care. Up the Arsenal.